Hey guys, it's Mark Nizzle from Jabberwock. I'm logged into that account today, and I basically have our Discord tail of the tape brought up, and I also have our feature message banner. I'm looking to do an introduction to our war strategy. War strategy is something that we introduced last week, but we really haven't had the time or the resources to maybe just sit down and kind of explain why we're doing this and how can this stuff be used to our advantage. So I'm hoping to really knock that out in this video today, so then that way as we go into our next war on Saturday and throughout the future, you guys kind of understand that these tools that come out, they how they're used, how we implement these, and how our war strategy kind of comes off of these foundational tools. And at the end of the day, if you follow this strategy and stuff like that, you will definitely be, able to hang with any underdog matchup that we're dealt, or you'll be able to blow away the competition. And, this is all about tools to make the smartest decision and find the best attack scenarios for us to give us that edge to win these wars. So let me start it off like this. So at the start of every war, basically a war general or an alliance leader will post out what we call tail of the tape. You'll see this on Discord. Basically, it's a head-to-head comparison of the war defenses that are on the battlefield. We sort it by team power, and we also try to find these patterns of tank colors. Tank colors give you a huge advantage in this game. I'll save that for another video, but basically this strategy is that when you're unified in one tank color, you're forcing your opponent to run two greens every time, and you force them into situations where they exhaust one particular color of heroes, and now they're forced to use reds that are weak against your blue or whatever color you're dealing with. As if you look at our opponents, they're kind of a rainbow tank color, and I pretty much know that, hey, I might not have maybe 6 reds to run against these green tanks over here that are really good, that could probably get the job done. But what I do know is that I got at least 2 really good heroes of every color. So when I'm making my teams for attacking, I'm kind of matching up my team against, okay, this team has 2 purples, so let me find a yellow tank. This team has 2 reds, so let me find a green tank. And, just set myself up for those favorable matchups. So anytime that I see that our opponent is not doing a war tank strategy, I am very happy because I know that I'm going to at least have a chance to put up some decent points in any matchup that I get into. And that's one of those things to be opportunistic. So make sure that you take the time and kind of take a look at that. From a big level picture, we have a war strategy that's as follows. During the first 12 hours, we attack the weakest teams at the start of the war, and we try to get them up and down as many times as we can. Wars are won by points per flag, so you want as many one-shot kills as you can. And if you guys have noticed over the last 3 wars where we've done a strategy, weakest teams have been as little as 5, and we've had 10. And that's basically determined on our head-to-head average team defense. So like looking at today's matchup, we are a 29.51 average defense going up against a 32.08. So we're quite a bit of an underdog. So we don't want to knock out 10 teams knowing that we got a lot of heavier teams coming down the line in the back half of war, where we need to start knocking out 4K teams to flip the board. What we want to do is that we want to knock out as many little teams as we can, so we have an excess amount of flags to have that firepower where, instead of using 30 flags in the first 12 hours, maybe we're only using 15. So now, we have an extra 15 flags on the back end of the war that will give us that firepower we need to get the reset when the timer is kind of not in our favor. So that's kind of how that comes together. If you look at the feature message today, would be a good example. So we're an underdog today, so we're not going for a lot of teams. We have our weakest 7 teams identified, and they come out to be about 29.87 and below. And then you'll see the grid. You'll see that I'm saying A3, A4, B2, B5, C2, D2, and E3 are our targets. And then I also put a disclaimer in there when the board is not symmetrical, because this sometimes gets overlooked. And if you're new to the war strategy, you might think that B2 is, B3, and that's because you weren't aware of A1, B1, D1, and E1 just being empty on the board, and there's only one team on the battlefield in C1. So I do put that little note in there to kind of help us out. But basically, that 2987 matches up to a 2951 of our average team defense. So, I'm trying to make sure that we have our best chance to be as most effective as we can in the start. And it's very important that, we stick to the strategy and that we don't devise from it, because that's how wars are won. Wars are won with discipline, patience, and being opportunistic. And if we can get all three of those on board, what we can do as an alliance can really go up to that next level. So this is the start of just, one topic here. We haven't even looked at the battlefield. I plan to record some videos later today to kind of show you maybe how I would tank bust, and how I would basically match up. But I wanted to get this out early so you guys can kind of understand how the first 12 hours of war is kind of strategized and planned out to look. And hopefully this will help us in the future, and be helpful to other members. I know maybe some Bandersnatch members might comment on this, and take their advice to heart, because these guys have been doing that for a very long time, and we have been very successful in our eldest alliance doing this strategy. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'll get this posted shortly. See you in a bit.